Hello, my name is Nathaniel Russell. I will be your next interp speaker for today. This time is ready?
Yes.
We may begin. Coziness, comfort, and method idealized. From Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Mr. Phileas Fogg lived, in 1872, at number 7, Savile Row, Burlington Gardens. He was one of the most noticeable members of the Reform Club, though he seemed always to avoid attracting attention. He lived alone in his house in Savile Row, whither none penetrated. A single domestic sufficed to serve him. He breakfasted and dined at the club, at hours mathematically fixed, in the same room, at the same table, and went home at exactly midnight, only to retire at once to bed. If to live in this style is to be eccentric, it must be confessed that there is something good in eccentricity. The mansion on Savile Row, though not sumptuous, was exceedingly comfortable. The habits of its occupant were such as to demand but little from the sole domestic. But Phileas Fogg required him to be almost superhumanly prompt and regular. On this very 2nd of October, he had dismissed James Forster, because that luckless youth had brought him shaving water at 84 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 86, and he was awaiting his successor, who was due at the house between 11 and 12:30. Phileas Fogg was steadily watching a complicated clock, which indicated the hours, the minutes, the seconds, the days, the months, and the years. A rap at this moment sounded on the door of the cozy apartment where he was seated, and a young man of 30 advanced and bowed. "You are a Frenchman, I believe, and your name is John."
Jean, monsieur pleases. Jean Passepartout, a surname which is clung to me because I have a natural aptness for going out of one business into another. I believe I'm honest, monsieur, but to be outspoken I've had several trades. I've been an itinerant singer and a circus rider. Then I got to be a professor of gymnastics, and then I was a sergeant fireman at Paris and assisted at many a big fire. But I quitted France 5 years ago and, wishing to taste the sweets of domestic life, took service as a valet here in England. Finding myself out of place, and hearing that Monsieur Phileas Fogg was the most exact and settled gentleman in the United Kingdom, I had come to Monsieur in the hope of living with him a tranquil life, and forgetting even the name of Passepartout.
"Passepartout suits me. You are well recommended to me. I here could report of you. You know my conditions?"
Yes, monsieur.
"Good. What time is it?" 22 minutes after 11. You are too slow."
Pardon me, monsieur. It is impossible. This is,
You are 4 minutes too slow. Now from this moment, 29 minutes after 11 a.m. this Wednesday, 2nd October, you are in my service. Phileas Fogg got up, took his hat in his left hand, put it on his head with an automatic motion, and went off without a word.
Faith! I've seen people at Madame Toussaint's Museum of Waxworks as lively as my new master.
During his brief interview with Mr. Fogg, Passepartout had been carefully observing him. Seen in the various phases of his daily life, he gave the idea of being perfectly well balanced, as exactly regulated as a Leroy chronometer. Phileas Fogg was indeed exactitude personified. As for Passepartout, he was a true Persian of Paris.
It would be rash to predict how my lively nature will agree with Monsieur Fogg. Yes, I have been a sort of vagrant in my early years, and now yearn for her pose, but so far I have failed to find it, so I have already served in 10 English houses. With chagrin, I found my masters invariably whimsical and irregular, constantly running about the country or on the lookout for adventure. Hearing that Monsieur Phileas Fogg was looking for a servant, and that his life was one of most unbroken regularity, I felt sure that this would be the place I was after. At 11:30, Passepartout found himself alone in the house in Savile Row. He began its inspection without delay, scouring it from cellar to garret. When he reached the 2nd story, he recognized at once the room which he was to inhabit, and he was well satisfied with it. On the mantel stood an electric clock, precisely like that in Mr. Fogg's bedchamber, both beating the same second at the same instant. That's good. That'll do.
Here is a program of the daily routine of the house and all that is required of the servant. 8 in the morning, Monsieur rises, tea and toast at 23 minutes past 8, shaving water at 37 minutes past 9, toilet at 20 minutes before 10, and everything that is to be done from 11:30 a.m. when Monsieur leaves the house to midnight, the hour at which Monsieur retires. Phileas Fogg's wardrobe was amply supplied and in the best taste. Each pair of trousers, coat, and vest bore a number, indicating the time of year and season at which they were in turn to be laid out for wearing, and the same system was applied to the master's shoes. In short, the house in Savile Row was coziness, comfort, and method idealized.
This is just what I wanted. We shall get along together, Monsieur Fogg and I. What a domestic and regular gentleman. A real machine. Well, I don't mind serving a machine.
Passepartout.
You cannot be calling me. It's not the right hour.
Passepartout. I've called you twice.
But it is not midnight.
I know it. I don't blame you. You start for Dover and Calais in 10 minutes.
Monsieur is going to leave home?
Yes, we're going round the world.
Round the world!
In 80 days. So we haven't a moment to lose.
But the trunks!
We'll have no trunks, only a carpet bag with 2 shirts and 3 pairs of stockings for me, and the same for you. We'll buy our clothes on the way. Bring down my mackintosh and cloak, and some stout shoes, though we shall do little walking. Make haste.
That's good, that is. And I, who've wanted to remain quiet. Around the world in 80 days. Is my master a fool? No. Is this a joke, then? We're going to Dover? Good. To Calais? Good again. After all, I would not be sorry to set foot on my native soil again. Perhaps we will go as far as Paris, and it would do my eyes good to see Paris once more. But surely a gentleman so chary of his steps would stop there, no doubt. But then, it is none the less true that he is going away, so domestic person hitherto.
Forgotten nothing.
Nothing, monsieur.
My mackintosh and cloak.
Here they are.
Good. Take this carpet bag. Take good care of it, for there are 20,000 pounds in it. Two first-class tickets for Paris having been speedily purchased, Mr. Fogg was crossing the station to the train when he perceived his 5 friends of the Reform Club. Well, gentlemen, I'm off, you see, and if you will examine my passport when I get back, you will be able to judge whether I have accomplished the journey agreed upon.
Well, that would be quite unnecessary, Mr. Fogg. We will trust your word as a gentleman of honor. You didn't forget we are due in London again.
In 80 days, on Saturday, the 21st of December, 1872, at 9:15 p.m. Goodbye, gentlemen. Phileas Fogg and his servant seated themselves in a first-class carriage at 20 minutes before 9. 5 minutes later, the whistle screamed and the train slowly glided out of the station. Phileas Fogg, snugly ensconced in his corner, did not open his lips. Passepartout, not yet recovered from his stupefaction, clung mechanically to the carpet bag with its enormous treasure.
Oh!
What's the matter?
Alas! In my hurry, I forgot
What?
to turn off the gas in my room.
Very well, young man. It will burn at your expense. Thank you.